Hello, hello. Yay. It's it's so much scarier up here compared to like live streaming. It's it's insane. Hello, hey, hi, hello, everyone. I'm Zayu, and today I'll be talking about message gardening in the atmosphere and how digital communities can evolve past like what we have now, and how they might look like in the future in the atmosphere. So before we talk about the future, let's talk about a little bit about the past. What did digital communities look like back? I say back then, when it's like maybe like 20 years ago. So usually when I think about like old digital communities, I think about traditional forums, message boards, BBSs, where the structure is fairly rigid. Every community has a bunch of categories. Each posts have to have a topic, and all of the replies in it have to be on topic as well. And on top of that, users themselves are fragmented, right? They are different communities. Why would they be in the same space? Why would they be in the same website? But you know, as a user, you don't necessarily are only a part of one community. You're a part of many communities. And so away from these like fragmented websites, we started going towards the idea of like platforms, social media platforms. And in particular, I want to highlight, you know, Reddit, where they kind of took this idea of topic-based posts and community and kind of turn it into one mega platform where everyone is in a subreddit. And posts are still on topic usually, right? They still be posted on a specific subreddit. But the thing with social media platforms and the thing that Reddit does is that posts aren't just siloed within a single subreddit, right? You would have something like r/all or like the what's hot front page where any post from any subreddit can be distributed to any user. And that's pretty good, right? Like your post can have as many views as it needs be, right? Like it's not just siloed away within your peers. But this comes with what I see, where posts are now not just for the people that you intend to see, like, right? Like my post about video games is not just going to be about like not going to be seen by the players of the said video game, but it'll also be shown to like political people or just like quote unquote normies, right? Where my opinions are now not just with my peers, they are now being shown to other users. And this kind of has this, a bit of this like, I guess, mental shift where posts now tend to try to be like viral, right? They try to appeal to the larger, to a larger audience. And I think that kind of like degrades the idea of like community building, because now your posts aren't, you know, aren't for each other, it's for everyone. And that's not great if you're trying to do actual connections. I mean, somebody said that it's probably a good idea, me, to not focus on mega platforms. And if we do want to start building digital communities with like quote unquote real connections, we need to step away from having these or having just like one mode of transportation in terms of thought, right? And so where do we go from something like Reddit, where you have this like network effect of, yay, like I'm a user, I can now be a part of different communities, but I kind of just don't want my post to go everywhere and everyone to see it. So we kind of just shift towards something more like Discord, where, yeah, you got the one account, you could join different Discords, but every message that you do have is siloed within your community. And that's pretty good for community building. But they do a bit of a shift here away from posts and instead towards chat, which is really cool because that means there's a lower barrier to entry in terms of participation, right? Like as a user, you could come into a Discord, say hi, and then just lurk and see what conversations are currently happening. But everything is ephemeral, right? Any knowledge or any conversations that do happen, they eventually kind of just get lost in the timeline. Like, yes, they're under different channels and categories, but, they're in like different categories, so they're kind of categorized in different channels, but they get lost in the sauce, one might say. And so, where do we go from here? Like now, as a community, we're building like this next level of social media, right? On Ad Protocol. So I think we could go. I think we could create a space where any thought can be in the correct medium. It could be shown to as many or as little people as possible. And I think the way that we can kind of inform our process here in terms of building these platforms and communities is with digital gardening. Raise of hand, how many of y'all heard of digital gardening before? It's like a third. I personally have never heard of this term until like maybe late last year, but I really like the concept, right? And for those who did raise their hands, I don't know if this is your first thought as well, but when it comes to digital gardening, I need to look at the time. In terms of digital gardening, sometimes I just think of like really overcomplicated Obsidian or Notion setups where everyone's writing a billion notes, everything is in a graph, they got calendars and everything. But digital gardening isn't about like these overcomplicated tools. It's mainly about the idea that the ideas that you would have like this public space online where you would develop your ideas. And the main 2 points here, I'm grabbing this definition from Maggie Appleton, and she says that gardens tend to be or have to be explorable, so users can just jump in and find the information that they do want. And they're slowly grown over time, so they're not just fixed to just the single blog post. Like, they're not necessarily fully formed at the very start. And as I said, I haven't heard a lot about digital gardening until late last year, but what I have like read and heard about, they're mainly focused on the individual, right? You have your own Obsidian setup, you have your own Notion setup, you have your own website. And I think we can kind of get these concepts and kind of try to mold them to communities, especially with something as big as like building one in the atmosphere. So with that in mind, like, what does the atmosphere give us in terms of being able to be, or having gardens that are explorable and slowly grown over time? So we got a few things here. I'm just going to go through them. One is domain ownership. So the user only has the one account. And by extension, they're not constrained by platforms, right? And by extension, the communities that live on those platforms. And then we got PDSs that give credible exit so that users can exclude their data whenever, right? So I might be a part of a community one day and say, I kind of don't like these guys anymore, and say, I'm gonna block their access to my PDS, and now they can't see my messages anymore. And I'm gonna move the info that I did write and move it to another community if I want to do that as well. And then lexicons are really cool because they give this like shared data identity, I guess, of like being able to share information more freely and more with more structure, more easily between different platforms. And one of the things that we're trying to do, you guys have seen a bunch of the talks today about like how the Ad Protocol, like a typical Ad Protocol application like infrastructure looks like. Fellow engineer on the team, Ziklag, is toying around the idea that like maybe we don't need even servers anymore, right? Instead of having like a big relay and app view, we could just talk to each other, right? That way you're really not beholden to any platform, right? Like all Roomy really does at that point is just querying the data and making sure that you're talking to the right people. So this is what the future will look like, hopefully. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. And to go back to the original, like, okay, that's cool, being able to get all your data and making sure they're all, you're not beholden to platforms. But in terms of the actual platform itself, like how can we kind of introduce this idea? And like, what should my community be in? Should they be in a chat forum like Discord these days? Or should they look like forums of the golden age, right? And, you know, as everyone has said before, ¿por qué no los dos? You know, why not both? And we have this idea where, of like thought metamorphosis, basically fancy terms of you have a bunch of thoughts as a user, you put them in a chat and you do a conversation, and eventually at some point, right, in the ebb and flow of conversations, contexts change, you know, topics change, the people participating change, and so if we want to just capture that away from like the ephemeral timeline that can get lost into like history, we could like capture that, put that into threads, and eventually put a bunch of those threads and thoughts and throw them into full-blown articles that we could share outside of the community, right? So the community would be mainly around the chat, the low barrier of communication, socializing in the moment, and then building intentional knowledge, like wikis, to share out to the world. Be like, this is what we figured out about this video game or something, right? And I'm just gonna do like a quick demo because why not? Why not test my fate online? And so let me log in real quick. Here we go. So this is Roomy. So as you can see, it's kind of dark. Do we want something brighter? Okay, not too bright. All right, nope. Let me go back. All right. So this is what Roomy looks like. Obviously, it kind of looks like Discord. This is mainly so that like people who start using Roomy can get familiar and have like a familiar interface with communicating with each other. And here you could see we have a bunch of different channels and threads. Threads usually come from existing messages. So you can see here we have like this little testing thread that we have. And eventually at some point people were talking about like a feature thing we had a question about. So maybe instead of putting that in testing, we should move it to a different thread. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a few of these messages here. And we could call this thread channel origin, and then create the thread. And as you can see, all of those messages have been moved to now a new thread. Eventually, and this way, like, you know, the conversations can keep going, but at some point, you can just make sure that you have the messages are in the correct space and are categorized correctly as you grow this digital garden with your community. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have a lot of hope for the digital communities that are getting built on ATprotocol. And specifically for Roomy.chat, we got a bunch of upcoming features and or like just general wishes to kind of support this mission. In our case here, the thing that I really want to focus on is the last two, which is interoperability with the rest of the ATprotocol apps. So having like a Blue Sky feed on the side, maybe being able to throw in like events, you know, Discord has events, why not have an already existing ATprotocol events platform, put it on there, right, like smoke signals. And the last bit is the Roomy SDK, which was just basically just finished like this week and rushed for this demo to make sure everything is good and dandy. And And it's new and it's open source, so you don't have to be beholden to our UI. So if you want it to look more like a traditional forum, or you want to build your community more like a TUI on the command line, that's always available. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You can join us at roomy.chat/roomy.chat. The second bit is going to be like the community domain, but our community is in roomy.chat. So again, roomy.chat/roomy.chat. Join us. Again, we are open source. You could find us at GitHub, Muni-town/Roomy. There's a QR code for Roomy Chat right there. And if you do, you can make Roomy, our little mascot guy, really happy. With that said, shout out to my teammates Erland and Ziklag for making this happen as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can follow me everywhere, zayu.dev. And yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Zayu.